Hello and welcome to another update video about GALA. GALA, similar to Bitcoin, Ethereum, probably started a decline. It looks like it came down a little bit in an impulsive fashion, but not too strongly. Actually, they are holding quite well, some of the altcoins. If we look at what GALA did, it finished 5 waves of the Friday lows, so that's absolutely fine. That also makes me suggest that the overall larger correction that started back in January, that finished here on Friday. We then rallied in 5 waves, out of our support zone. After we broke out of the descending wedge, that was a really good signal. Then we broke out of the corrective price channel. So we have basically really good confirmation. I mean, you've got the best confirmation you can get, really. You have 5 waves up of the December lows. You have 3 waves down into March. So that's already a 1-2 setup. That setup or that support area did hold. You already left it in 5 waves. There isn't much more you can get in terms of confirmation at this stage, right? So if it breaks, then it breaks. But then, it breaks. If this setup is breaking now, it is because probably the less probable outcome is going to work out. And that can, of course, happen. But because it's never certainties, it's only probabilities. But you can only analyze what you see. So we've had the 5 up, 3 down on the micro level here now, 5 up as well. But it's not even micro level, it's actually a decent time frame, 5 waves up, and we would ideally like to see something like this now, an ABC, and what I can imagine is that maybe this A wave isn't even finished yet, could come down a little lower. Wouldn't be uncommon. So for example, if I'm adding the 38.2 fib level to the yellow box is the Fibonacci standard support for a wave 2. For a wave 2 basically. And let me just change something. I want to make that a bit more transparent. So if you look at this, you can see that typically you need to know that typically a wave 2 comes back into the region between the 50% retracement and the 78.6 retracement. Now, I would normally like to see an A wave hit the 38.2 retracement. Now we're talking here about ideal situations. It's not always ideal. In fact, rarely ideal. So be prepared that a wave A, for example, could take a little longer or could go a bit deeper. It can be a bit less steep. It might not even hit the 38.2 fib level, but eventually the wave 2, so when ABC is finished, ideally I'd like to see wave 2 get into the region between the 50% level and the 78.6, so between the 50% retracement at 3.75 cents and the 78.6 retracement at 3.35 cents. If it drops below that level, then it will make further upside directly in this particular 1-2 setup, where that would be followed by a third wave. Less likely, but not impossible, because even if you zoom out a bit, you can see we would even if we go below that level, we are still in the larger green support area. So it might just mean a bit of a continuation to the downside here. Wouldn't be ideal, but we would then have to assume at some point that this wave 2 was never finished, the larger wave 2 there. That's not ideal though. So I'm not primarily following that or focusing on that. I'm considering it, but I'm not focusing on it because we had, as I said, 5 waves up of the December lows, 3 waves down into large support. It reacted where it needed to react, and it rallied in 5 waves. So again, if it still fails, it fails, but that's just because nothing in markets is certain. It's all probabilities. But that you just need to know about that. But again, I wanted to emphasize that the advantage would be here in this particular situation that we're just dropping right back into support. Okay, so at the moment, really on the micro level here, it seems like the A wave might be unfolding, and it could very well be that this A wave is unfolding in 3 waves. We need to be ready for that. This does not look necessarily like an impulse in A. Again, best we can tell here is that we are already in a correction, but even that isn't fully confirmed because the move down isn't very clear. Okay, so we've got a much clearer retracement on the ADA chart, for example, on the ETH chart. Here, this could be a lot of stuff. the A wave can, if the A wave is in 3 waves, the B wave can even become an overshooting B wave. Just be ready for that. But for me, it's like, if it gets into this area, it might be interesting to scale in or scale up or whatever after it hit our targets here. Now, I wouldn't personally even do anything at the 38.2, but that's only me. I want altcoins ideally come back deep to really have a good reward to risk, right? So at the moment, my expectation would be here on the smaller time frame that A wave is still unfolding. B wave will happen afterwards, and the C wave would happen afterwards. Yeah, so it's just a word of caution here that sometimes these altcoins, sometimes you see very shallow wave twos, but there's no way of knowing that in advance. You would then only really be able to tell if it rallies above, and in this case, it would need to be, especially if we consider an overshooting B wave, yeah. Depending based on the current low, we want to get it broken. We want to get the 1.38 FIB retracement broken. That's at 4.6 cents. If it gets above that level and sustains, then it indicates this cannot be a B wave. And we are then already in the 3rd wave. Okay, then it was a very shallow wave 2. But a wave 2, I mean, there's no clear rule how deep it needs to go. It's just experience. And really, we've seen it again in this cycle that really basically all altcoins I've been following, or let's say 95% of altcoins came to that 50% retracement. So, do you want to do you want to bet against the probabilities or not, right? So I'm talking here about, probabilities would suggest we come down to the 50% retracement, but nobody ever knows. It's all about probabilities and planning your tactics and strategy around it. But yeah, we are still here. We have an idea that the trend might have shifted. So we're now in a pullback and favor trend continuation to the upside. Okay, that's my update about GALA. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.